Generally speaking, our coast here is completely dominated by longshore transport. When you look at the wave conditions on the Gold Coast, predominantly the waves come from the south. They come from weather systems that are generated in the Tasman Sea, which, based on the wind direction, force wave action generally from the south to the southeast. And so that creates our major swells that the surfers like to see. If we have weather systems that then move, or we have a tropical cyclone develop, then that swell direction can change. And for a certain period of time, we do get major swell from the north to the northeast, which then effectively disrupts the natural flow of sand along our beaches, and we see some interesting features develop along the coastline. Erosion might start to appear somewhere where you don't normally see it. It's not so much erosion as just a blockage of sand movement, and because of the natural way in which our system works, we start to see the beach cutting back. So basically the swell direction is dependent on the weather systems out in the Coral Sea and the Tasman Sea that generate them.
In 1970, the Delft report was completed, providing coastal engineers with the first detailed analysis of what was happening to the beaches, what could be expected in the future, and the works needed to protect the Gold Coast.
When the Delft report was written back in the 1970s, they made a major attempt with the data they had available to assess the quantity of longshore drift that's occurring on our coastline. More recently, with the implementation of the two major sand bypassing systems on the Gold Coast, we're now able to quantify the amount of sand that is being pumped by those systems. And then if you assess how the beach is moving over time, you can make a reasonable estimate of the amount of sand that is actually naturally moving along the beach. And that's, in a sense, sort of validated the original assessments made in the Delft report, with some variation. And certainly we start to see a picture where the longshore transport rate is not steady. It's very much throughout the year and from year to year, but on average it comes out at about 500,000 cubic metres per year moving northward. There are some other oceanographic influences that can affect the way sand moves naturally. For example, there's what are called internal waves, which are waves that occur on density differences inside the ocean, which sort of look like surface waves, but they're deep down. And when they come close to the shore, they break, just like a surface wave will break, and create a very energetic flow motion, which is moving sand across the bottom of the ocean. We then have other oceanographic features, things such as coastal trap waves, the East Australian current, and a range of oceanographic influences that cause high level of movement of sand. But in terms of what we see on the beach, these are very minor compared to the role of waves. Whether we'll see a long-term change comes into the area of climate change research or climate change science. And at the moment, there simply isn't enough information to make any prediction at all about the way climate change will impact on our wave conditions. We do see the influence of climate variability on the longshore drift, because the longshore drift is purely a function of the wave energy and the direction of that wave energy.
Are you boating this season in the Swanee River in Florida? The FWC wants to remind you about the jumping sturgeon. Boaters in the past have been seriously injured when colliding with these fish. The sturgeon aren't attacking or targeting boaters, they're simply doing what they've been doing for thousands of years. Please enjoy the scenic Swanee River and have fun, but we also urge you to go slow and wear your life jacket while underway. Capture this QR code for more information on these giant prehistoric-looking jumping fish.